Prospect Theater Company is a nonprofit organization based in New York City, and we develop and produce new musical theater work by emerging artists. We started the company in 1998. It was founded by alumni from Princeton.
As we approach our 20th anniversary, it's really gratifying to sort of realize where we've come from, this small group of friends making work here in New York City, to a professional organization that has received some wonderful accolades.
I heard about auditions that were being held for a PUP, a Princeton University Players production of Man of La Mancha.
I had already been friends with Cara, and she was interested in producing a show and said, "Hey, do you want to stage manage?" And I said, "Well, what's that?"
It was the Triangle Club auditions for a production of Once Upon a Mattress, and I was the accompanist and Cara was auditioning.
So I thought, what the hey, I'll audition and see what happens.
And she said, "Well, we'll just do the show together." There's a little bit more to it than that, of course.
And she came in with the song My Funny Valentine, and she had a complicated jazz chart of it.
And I got a part.
She got cast in the show, and I was music directing for the show, and that was the first time that we worked together.
I started to tally all the shows and that I'd done, and about 55 of them were with Cara.
Two things happened during that production. I got the theater bug, and I made some amazing friends for life.
I came into Princeton knowing that I loved to sing and perform theater, but because of that sort of self-determined space at Princeton, I was able to really try out a lot of different things. And I discovered that what I loved more than performing was directing and creating a community and bringing people together to make theater.
What was really important for me about getting involved in theater at Princeton was this laboratory experience to experiment and try things, write a little grant and get a little money and market and sell tickets. So it's this wonderful opportunity to build theater from the ground up.
Finish the test. Game is your best. Each team has its crust. Each eye has its eye.
I remember one of the very first songs that I wrote for the Triangle Club was a setting of the honor code, Princeton's honor code.
I pledge my honor that I have not violated the honor code during this examination.
And then just to hear this group of 12 or 15 people in the chorus of that suddenly singing this melody that I had written, it was a rush like no other. And I think that's sort of, in a way, what got me hooked for life. Yeah, I've been writing musical theater ever since.
At the end of my junior year, we all got together and we put on a summer of shows with Princeton Summer Theater. It made sense for us as a group. We gelled even more than we had as students. That was sort of the seed for us to say, this is something that we could probably do in the future.
When we first founded the company, Cara was the producing artistic director, I was the managing director. Those are roles we still hold today, but we were also founding board members of the company.
My own role within the company is resident writer officially.
My original role was something of a general management. A few years after that, I became director of communications. And I held that role for a while.
So the first show we did was actually an adaptation of the medieval play Everyman, because we really didn't have much money and we didn't want to have to get the rights for anything. We did a small one-act production of this.
We were trying so hard to make the show work, but at the same time we had so little money. The company was just getting started. We were just beginning to fundraise. So literally we all sat around a table and went, okay, how much money can you afford to lose?
In 1999 and again in 2000, we had the opportunity to take a resident company of about 25 artists down to my hometown of Rome, Georgia. We did a summer stock theater season of musicals, Shakespeare, and also we did educational outreach with the communities. We often describe those summers as sort of a theater kibbutz. I think that those two summers were really wonderful because we grew very quickly in our knowledge of how to produce professional theater.
The Taxi Cabaret was actually the first new musical that Prospect did. Cara had looked into getting some dates at the Duplex Cabaret downtown. And of course, at the Duplex Cabaret, there's no storage and you can't build there. Every show has to come and go. It was very much literally a taxi cabaret because all of the scenery and props and costumes and everything that we brought to do the show at that space had to leave after each performance, so it would all be brought out to the curb and we would try to convince some poor cab to stop for us and load all of that stuff in and take it home with us after every performance. As whimsical, starry-eyed first productions go, it was magical.
This is a really exciting moment in the history of Prospect. We, for many years, were described as off-Broadway. We've just started a residency here at 59E59 Theaters on Manhattan's East Side. We're doing our first fully off-Broadway production here this fall, and we will continue for the next 2 years.
In recent years, I've been working on some projects outside of Prospect, most significantly and most recently, a show called The Honeymooners that just had its world premiere at Paper Mill Playhouse.
It's a school for spies.
I work with the Triangle Club every fall in creating their original student-written musicals. I've taught at the Graduate Musical Theater Writing Program at NYU.
Currently, we're teaching an atelier course through the Lewis Center for the Arts at Princeton, and the class is called Who Owns a Song? A Theatrical Investigation into Princeton and Slavery. For many years, from the founding of Prospect on, I was balancing my work with Prospect with other jobs in arts administration. But in 2013, I finally took the leap, and since then, Prospect has been my full-time day job.
My other life outside of Prospect, I'm also the producer at the International Festival of Arts and Ideas in New Haven, Connecticut. I like to think that they're pretty complementary to each other, at least in an intellectual space. I try to make those connective tissues in my head so that it makes the fact that basically I'm working 2 full-time jobs work together.
I'm still a board member of Prospect. I'm not as involved in the day-to-day operations as much right now, but I still feel very connected to the company.
While Prospect is still a place that we develop our own work, we also have expanded to include a broad community of emerging writers. We are providing unproduced writers their first opportunity to be seen in New York City. So we've really become an important part of the vital new musical theater development scene here in the city.